Faith Fraser is alive. Just thinking about it shakes the foundations of everything we know about Outlander. How could the child Claire and Jamie mourn be the daughter they never had the chance to raise? Could she really have survived in the first episode of Season 8? This shocking revelation has us questioning everything we thought we knew, but how could this have happened, and if Faith is really alive, where has she been all these years? The answer is caught in a web of deception, danger and a deadly mission. That could change everything for Jamie and CLA. Outlander Season 8 Episode 1 begins not with joy but with haunting whispers that echo through time. Claire is haunted by visions of a child, a little girl with eyes exactly like Jamie. These visions are more vivid than dreams, almost like memories, but how can they be made real? Determined to understand the truth behind these haunting visions, Claire sets out on a quest that will take her down a more dangerous path than she ever imagined, not least her sanity. But her very life, as the truth of Faith's return is protected by forces that will stop at nothing to keep it a secret. Meanwhile, James is torn between disbelief and hope. The idea that Faith could be alive shatters him to the core. How can he grieve for his daughter all these years only to discover that she could be out there somewhere? But as Jimmy and Clara dig deeper, they realize that they are not just searching for their child, they are uncovering a conspiracy deeper than they could have imagined. Enemies from their past resurface, shadows lurk around every corner determined to bury the truth forever. But why would someone keep Faith's existence a secret, and who would be cruel enough to take her away from her parents? As Clara uncovers clues that lead her to a dangerous revelation, she realizes that Faith's turn is not a miracle but the curse is a trap set by an old enemy out for revenge, using Faith as a pawn in a deadly game, and CLA is the only one who can save her if she survives the journey. The return of Faith changes everything for Jimmy and Clara. It forces them to question past decisions, their faith in each other, and even the love they fought so hard to protect. But with enemies closing in and secrets threatening to tear them apart, they must find the strength to face the darkest truths. As Faith's return is just the beginning, and the ending could be far more tragic than they ever imagined. This is just the beginning of a story that will unravel everything we thought we knew about Faith's Outlander return is a revelation that will change the Fraser family forever, but at what cost? The answers lie ahead, tangled in love, loss and a deadly mission that could be Claire's last. The truth is coming and no one is ready for it. As CLA delves deeper into the mystery of Faith's return, she encounters a figure from her past, someone she never expected to see again. Master Raymond, the enigmatic healer who once saved her life, holds secrets that defy time itself, but his knowledge comes at a price. When Claire confronts him, he speaks in riddles, warns her that some truths are better left buried. He tells her that Faith's existence was never meant to be known and that pursuing this path will lead to unspeakable danger. But CLA is relentless. She refuses to let fear stop her from finding her daughter, no matter the cost. Master Raymond reveals that Faith was kidnapped at birth by an ancient order known as the Shadows of Fate, a secret group that manipulates time for their own dark purposes. They see Faith's birth as a threat, a child born outside of time who can alter the course of history to protect their power. They hid her away, erasing all traces of her existence. But something goes wrong. The timeline begins to break down and Faith's presence begins to echo through time, calling out her mother's name. That is why CLA has been seeing those haunting illusions. They are not dreams, they are echoes of Faith's life reaching out into time in desperate searching for her parents. Is horrified by this revelation, Claire realizes that Faith has always existed as she grew up in a world where she never knew her real parents. But why now? Why are the echoes only appearing now? Master Raymond reveals the cold truth. Faith, the truth, is in grave danger. The darkness of fate is preparing to eliminate her once and for all, to restore the timeline and protect their power. If Claire doesn't find her in time, Faith will be lost forever. Fueled by love and fear, Claire runs back to Jimmy to tell the truth, but Jamie's reaction is not what she expected. He is furious, angry that she hid this from him, angry that she risked her life for answers. But hidden behind the anger is pain, the heartbreaking pain of a father who dared to hope only to have that hope shattered. Jamie can bear the thought of losing Faith again after all these years, but Claire refuses to give up. She convinces Jimmy that they must fight no matter the cost, because Faith is their daughter and she needs them. Together they set out on a deadly mission to find Faith before it's too late. But they are not the only ones searching. The darkness of fate has been hunting her, determined to erase she is forever gone from history. As Jimmy and Clara follow the echo through time, they realize that they are walking into a trap where the enemy is waiting, ready to destroy anyone who stands in their way, and the closer they get to Faith, the more dangerous the journey becomes. The stakes are higher than ever. One wrong move could change the course of history or end their lives, but Jimmy and Clara will not back down. Not now, not when they are so close to finding their daughter. They are willing to risk everything, even their lives. Their own lives are lived to save Faith, but with shadows lurking around every corner and danger approaching, the question remains whether they will reach her in time, or will the truth of Faith's return spell the end of everything they hold dear. As Jimmy and Claire follow the echoes through time, they find themselves facing enemies they never knew existed. The Shadows of Fate are cunning, ruthless and determined to protect their secret at all costs. Every step Jimmy and Claire take brings them closer to Faith, but it also brings them closer to danger. They are hunted, pursued by shadowy figures who move through time as easily as others move through space. No place is safe, no one can be trusted, and the closer they get to the truth, the more dangerous their enemies become. In their quest for faith, Jimmy and Claire discover an ancient artifact known as the Mirror of Echoes. This powerful relic allows them to glimpse moments in Faith's life, heartbreaking glimpses of a little girl growing up alone, wondering who she is and where she came from. CLA painfully sees Faith's face for the first time. Her daughter's eyes are filled with longing and sadness. Jamie's heart breaks as he sees Faith's fiery spirit, so similar to her mother's, challenging the cruel world that has imprisoned her. These visions give them hope, but they also fill them with fear. Faith is still out there, but she is alone and she is running out of time, but using Echo's mirror comes at a cost. Every glimpse into Faith's life disrupts the flow of time, causing ripples that can change the past, present, and future. The more they use it, the more dangerous it becomes. Becoming time itself begins to break down and reality begins to change. Events from their past or altered memories are rewritten and the world around them becomes unstable. Jimmy and Claire realize they are not just fighting to save Faith, they are fighting to save time itself. The ghosts of Fate are angry that Jamie and CLA have found Echo's mirror. They will do anything, nothing to stop them from using it, even if it means killing both. Ancient Order send their most dangerous assassin, a man known only as the Whisperer, a shadowy figure who can move through time without leaving a trace. He hunts them relentlessly, always one step ahead, always out of sight. Jamie and CLA are running out of time and the walls are closing in. Desperate for answers, Claire turns to Master Raymond once more, but when she reaches his secret hideout, she finds it in ruins. Master Raymond has disappeared. His home has been destroyed by the darkness of Fate, but he has left behind one last clue, a map to the Temple of Time where the faith is hidden. All those years ago were their only hope, but the journey is perilous, leading them through dangerous landscapes and through ancient ruins filled with deadly traps, with danger lurking at every turn. Jamie and Claire must rely on each other more than ever. Their love is their greatest strength, but it is also their greatest weakness. The darkness of Fate knows this, and they use it to fight them, create illusions to manipulate their emotions and break their souls. Jamie is haunted by visions of losing CLA, while CLA is tormented by memories of Faith slipping from her grasp. They fight not only for their daughter but for each other and for their very souls. As they approach the Temple of Time, Jamie and CLA realize that they are not only facing an ancient council, but they are facing Fate itself. The shadow of Fate is the guardian of time, the guardian of the timeline. To save Faith, Jamie and Claire must challenge Fate itself, rewrite history and challenge the very fabric of time. But changing Fate comes at a cost, and the consequences could be catastrophic. The tension is unbearable, the stakes are higher than ever. Jamie and Claire's every decision could change the world as they know it, and as they prepare to enter the Temple of Time, a question haunts them: whether they are truly defying Fate or the mission to save the Lord. The news will be the end of all. The war is far from over. The darkness of Fate is closing. The timeline is gradually revealed, and the journey to rescue the faith is about to reach the most dangerous turning point. Inside the Temple of Time, the air is heavy with ancient magic and the walls seem whispers with the voices of those who came before. Jimmy and Claire step cautiously, their hearts pound as they realize they are standing at the center of a mighty nexus where the past, present and future converge. The temple is a maze of shifting corridors and hidden passages designed to protect the greatest secret of all, the truth about the existence of Faith. But they are not alone. The Whisperer is lurking in the shadows, watching their every move. He is the shadow of Fate, the most dangerous weapon, a man who can control time, bending reality to his will. He taunts them, his voice echoes throughout the temple, reminding them that they are trespassing on sacred ground. He knows their weaknesses, their fears, and he uses them ruthlessly, creating illusions, blurring the lines between real and unreal. Jamie sees his father's face accusing him of failing his family, while Claire is haunted by visions of Faith calling. She is just beyond the reach of the illusions designed to separate them. But Jimmy and CLA become stronger together. They cling to each other, not letting the darkness engulf them. They fight the illusions, relying on their love and faith. It is the bond that leads them through the labyrinth, that leads them to the heart of the temple, the echo chamber. Inside the room they find an ancient altar covered in mystical symbols that glow with a supernatural light. This is where Faith is hidden, where she was taken from them many years ago. The truth is true right in front of them, but unlocking it requires sacrifice. The echo chamber demands a price for its knowledge, a price that could change everything. Claire steps forward, her heart aches as she places her hand on the altar. A blinding light engulfs her, and suddenly she is standing in the past, witnessing the moment Faith was taken. She sees the ghost of Fate performing an ancient ritual, sealing Faith's existence to protect the timeline. They believe Faith is so powerful that her very life will disrupt the balance of time. They have hidden her away, erasing her from history, erasing her from Claire's arms. But Claire also sees something else, Faith's face, her daughter's eyes wide with fear and hope. Faith is still alive. She has been hidden in a place outside of time, a world between worlds, but she is trapped, unable to escape without Claire's help. Claire's heart breaks as she watches Faith reach out, her voice echoed throughout the room: Mom, help me. Before CLA can react, the Whisperer slashed his sword in. Claire has the heart, but Jimmy is faster. He rushes between them, fighting with all his might to protect CLA and the truth they have discovered. The battle is fierce, brutal as time itself bends around them. The Whisperer moves like a shadow, His attacks are fast and deadly, but Jamie's love for CLA gives him strength and he refuses to back down as the battle rages. CLA realizes that the only way to save the Faith is to break the seal that binds her, but breaking the seal will release the full power of the chamber. The Echo ripped a hole in the timeline. It was a risk she was willing to take. With tears streaming down her face, CLA recited the spell she learned from Master Raymond. Her voice was steady and determined. The room trembled. The symbols on the altar glowed brighter and brighter until they exploded in a burst of light. Time shattered around him. The past collided with the present. Claire saw flashes of light in Faith's life, moments of joy and sadness, laughter and tears. She saw Faith grow strong and brave, surviving despite the darkness of the cruelty of fate, and then she saw the future. Faith stood beside her and Jimmy, a family finally reunited, but just as quickly as the vision appeared, it was torn apart. Whisperer screamed in fury, his power broken by class challenge. He charged at her, but Jamie was ready. With one final blow he defeated Whisperer, sending him tumbling into the depths of the temple. Lost in time forever, the battle was won, but the price was high. The temple of time began to collapse. Its magic dissipated as the timeline reset. Jimmy and CLA Bear escaped as the walls crumbled around them. Outside they watched the temple disappear, leaving only rubble behind, the mirror reflecting its power gone forever. But CLA was not defeated. She had seen the truth. She knew Faith was still alive and nothing could stop her from finding her. She turned to Jamie. Her eyes were glowing with determination. We will get her back, she swears. Her voice is unwavering. Jamie nods. His love and loyalty is unbreakable. I Sasso, we will get her home, but their journey is far away. The shadows of fate are still out there, and they will not rest until Faith is hidden again. Jamie and Claire have defied fate, but the consequences are just beginning to unfold. The timeline has been altered, and the world they return to may not be the world they left behind. When Jimmy and Claire emerge from the ruins of the Temple of Time, they realize the world around them is strangely different. The air is colder, the sky is darker, and the land is scarred as if touched by a great calamity. They have changed the timeline, and the consequences have begun to ripple through history, but there is no time to dwell on the past. Faith is still out there, trapped in the world between worlds, and every second counts. Back to Fraser's Ridge they meet familiar faces that seem strange. Friends and family look at them with suspicion. Their memories are altered by the change in the timeline. Even Brianna and Roger don't recognize them at first. Their minds are clouded by the darkness of fate, as if Jimmy and CLA are strangers in their own home. The breakup was obvious, but they refused to give up on her determination to restore her family and find Faith. Claire dives into her books in search of answers about the world between worlds. She recalls Master Raymond's mysterious warnings about the void where time stands still, where souls can be lost forever. But there is a path in a hidden portal called the Dark Portal, guarded by the last remains of the shadows of fate. To open the portal they need the Key of the Echoes, a mystical artifact lost to time. According to legend, the key is hidden in the stones, protected by ancient magic, but the stones are even more dangerous now, unstable after the destruction of the temple. One wrong move could send them plunging into an unknown era, lost forever. But Jamie and Claire have no choice but to save Faith. They must risk everything. The quest takes them across Scotland. Following the whispers of old legends, they face enemies who remember the world before the timeline changed, those loyal to the shadows of fate, seeking to restore the power of the master of these enemies, relentlessly willing to do anything to stop Jimmy and CLA. From the moment they arrive at the gates, the battles are fierce. Their enemies are cunning and ruthless, but Jimmy and Claire are a force to be reckoned with. Fighting side by side, their unbreakable bond overcomes all challenges. Their love remains their greatest strength. They face illusions designed to break their spirits, visions of a future without each other, a faith lost forever, but they refuse to be shaken. They have come too far to turn back now. Their determination drives them forward through storms and darkness until they finally reach the keystones of Echoes. Hidden deep within the hearts of the stones are protected by an ancient guardian, a being born of magic and time. This is a battle unlike any they have faced before, fighting against the forces of nature itself, but they become stronger when combined with Jamie's strength and Claire's cunning. They outsmart the guardian, retrieve the key just as the stones begin to collapse around them, but as they escape the rubble, they are confronted by the last shadow of fate, the master of the Whisperer, who reveals the terrible truth by breaking the seal and changing the timeline. Claire unleashed a paradox that threatened to erase Faith from existence completely. The only way to save her was to use the Key of Echoes to rewrite history at the cost of Claire's own life. It was a devastating choice. CLA was willing to sacrifice. Her love for Faith was stronger than her fear of death, but Jamie refused to let her go. He would not lose her again. In a heartbreaking moment, he begged CLA to stay to find another way, but Claire knew there was no other choice. She kissed Jamie one last time, her tears mixed with his as she stepped into the rocks. The Key of Echoes glowed in her hand. Time bent around her. The world spun as she faced the void where Faith was trapped. She called out loudly. Her voice echoed through the darkness, and Faith's face appeared. Her eyes were filled with hope and love. CLA reached out her fingers to touch Faith, and in that moment time itself broke. The void explodes in light as the timeline resets, as class sacrifice rewrites history. At Fraser's Ridge, Jamie falls to his knees, heartbroken as he feels CLA drifting away, but then a miracle happens. CLA reappears, collapsing in his arms, alive but barely breathing. The key to the echo has saved her, protecting her soul from the void and standing beside them, her face beaming with tears of joy. Faith has been restored. Her existence is no longer erased. The family is reunited, but the battle is far away. The darkness of fate has been defeated, but the timeline is still unstable and the consequences of class actions have only just begun. Unfolding, they have defied fate, rewrite history and bring Faith home, but at what cost? As Jimmy holds CLA and Faith tight, he looks out at the horizon, eyes filled with both hope and fear. The world has changed and their fight is not over. Outlander Season 8, Episode 1 leaves us with more questions than answers words, setting the scene for an epic battle against fate itself. What will the ghosts of fate do next? How will Jimmy and Claire protect their family from the consequences of rewriting history? And most importantly, what will the future hold? At Fraser's Ridge, Jamie falls to his knees, heartbroken as he feels CLA drifting away, but then a miracle happens. CLA reappears, collapsing in his arms, alive but barely breathing. The key to the echo has saved her, protecting her soul from the void and standing beside them, her face beaming with tears of joy. Faith has been restored, her existence is no longer erased. The family is reunited, but the battle is far away. The darkness of fate has been defeated, but the timeline is still unstable and the consequences of class actions have only just begun. Unfolding, they have defied fate, rewrite history and bring Faith home, but at what cost? As Jimmy holds CLA and Faith tight, he looks out at the horizon, eyes filled with both hope and fear. The world has changed and their fight is not over. Outlander Season 8, Episode 1 leaves us with more questions than answers words, setting the stage for an epic battle against fate itself. What will the ghosts of fate do next? How will Jimmy and Claire protect their families from the consequences of rewriting history? And most importantly, what will the future hold? Keep the faith. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more updates on Outlander Season